Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, comedian, magician, Danny Whitson. But it's all tricks aside, because tonight we're turning the paranormal into the normal. Join me as we explore the gray areas of reality. We're going to talk all things paranormal, UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, and aliens, and see how it's all connected. This podcast is brought to you by the Experiencer Support Association, and we are live. So if you're an experiencer yourself, or you're just plain nosy, be sure to send me your question and subscribe to the podcast. Now, get ready, because it's going to get deep. No, really, we're going to go way out there, because this is Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. What's happening, my paranormal junkies? Welcome to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, and I'm your host, Danny Whitson. Guys, I think we've got a fantastic show lined up for you today, but before we get into that, I got to spring some news that was just kind of sprung on me. I totally forgot about this, but apparently the JFK files have been released today. So, if you're a follower of that, and if you would like to come on the podcast anytime and talk about that, I would love to have you on. That seems like something very interesting that I would love to learn more about myself. I've never been a big JFK file follower, but I love any type of conspiracy, and I'm sure there's going to be some good juice in there. So, if you would love to come on the podcast and talk about the JFK, let's do it. Now, I got to say, we are broadcasting live from the E-United Public Radio Network and the Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 New Orleans. All right, guys, we've got a fantastic show lined up for you tonight. Now, we do not have a guest, no, but we got something better than a guest. Somebody better than a guest. Not just something, but someone better than a guest. We got, this guy, he's been around. We let him hang out. He does a fantastic job. Mr. Too Nice to Be Mean, the man behind the scenes. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Chris Green. There he is. What's happening, Mr. Green?
Not much.
Well, I tell you what, I had to bring up the JFK files because, like I said, you threw it at me. So I was like, hey, I'm a little ashamed that I should have known that this was going to happen. But
you should know this.
I should know. And, I'm a little cynical. I am. I can't help it because every time when they do release, but they don't release everything. It was like, yeah, we released it, but there's coffee spilled all over this little part right here. And this right here is kind of sun damaged. We can't, you can't make that out. So, I don't know. Maybe there'll be some good stuff, but I'm sure the people who follow the JFK assassination are all about it, digging in it big time, getting all the good stuff. So maybe we'll find something out. And also, Representative Luna, she is like in charge of that whole committee that's supposed to be getting this stuff done. I just think sometimes when you do follow this stuff as much as we do, it's hard to get your hopes up with anything, depending on, the government to do the right thing. And so, you just kind of, all right, I'll, whatever, But besides that mess, how's your week been, sir?
My week's been good. We did get an icebreaker question from our own Ryan Stacy, the skeptical sleuth.
Skeptical sleuth, icebreaker question. All right, let's hear it.
Who do you think killed JFK?
Who do I think killed JFK? Ooh, I've watched movies like, I think was it The Irishman, was kind of based around, no, that was Hoffa. That wasn't JFK. Well, there was a part though with JFK, the assassination. And it's so hard to tell because JFK kind of, the Kennedys had their hands in a lot of things, Like I always had a tendency to believe that it was the mafia that killed Robert Kennedy, because he went full-fledged after him on a lot of things. But then again, it's always said that the mafia was the scapegoat, and people just, that was an easy target to blame. So they made it look like it was the mafia because he had beef with, with the whole Robert Kennedy thing. But with John Kennedy, it's tough. I think there's a possibility. I don't know. What was it? The Soviet Union? Was it our very own government? A lot of times, we do a lot of things, and we like to toss it under the rug. I do not think it was Oswald, though. I do not think it was. I think there's something there, but who knows what we'll find out. So I don't have a good answer. I mean, for the skeptical sleuth. But let's get really creative. You know who I think killed JFK?
Oh,
Tony Danza. Anybody remember Tony Danza from Who's the Boss? Remember that show as a kid? Who's the Boss? Tony Danza? You don't remember Tony Danza?
I'm not that old.
Well, thanks. Thanks a lot, Chris. He's not that old. He doesn't remember. Well, Tony Danza has disappeared. I think he's teaching high school now, but he used to be doing a lot of shows. So maybe it was Tony Danza. I don't even think Tony Danza was alive back then. But yeah, it's definitely crazy times. We got some people in the chat. Want to give a big shout out to some of our chatters.
Yeah.
We got Lisa, Mort, and Mish. What's happening, guys? Hang out. Me and Chris are going to be shooting the bull, talking some crazy, crazy stuff tonight. And
I hear you have a good story.
I do have I got two good stories. First, I had a show this Sunday, and this is, getting older. You called me older, so I'm going to tell you guys, I don't know how old you guys are, but getting old is not fun. It's not fun. And whenever you're driving the road, you have to pee, sometimes you got to pull over and have a good pee spot. But in your late 40s, there's no such thing as a quick pee. So, have you ever have you ever peed so long it was embarrassing?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that totally happened to me Sunday. I went to the gas station. I had to pee. I'm in there peeing, and it's just forever. Somebody walks in. Okay, and they go in the stall next to me. And this guy had to be like 22 years old, because he started peeing and it sounded like a freaking a fireman hose. It was just shooting out, and I'm still peeing. And he gets done, flushes the toilet, I'm still peeing. He goes and washes his hands. I'm still peeing. He dries his hands on the air machine, not paper towels. Stops. I'm still peeing. He walks out the door. I'm still peeing. And eventually it stopped. And I was able to walk out. And when I did, there was everyone just staring at me like this spectacle, like they were at the circus freak show of pee. So that being said, folks, yes, it was, it's not fun getting older. But anyways, yeah, I do have another story on the road that's paranormal that does involve pee, that absolutely I would love to talk about tonight and share with you guys. And it's one that actually I kind of forgotten about, which is crazy. You forget about, things. You're like, oh yeah, I remember that happening. But yeah, I will definitely talk about that tonight. And we're going to talk about some consciousness channeling we want to talk about. Lisa, well, hey, that is definitely young. Yeah, because Lisa says, can we, well, Lisa's done shared her age here in the chat. So and there we go. Now you're displayed for all of YouTube viewers in the internet to see. There's Lisa's age. She's proud of it. That's right. You're only as old as you feel, though, right, Lisa? Yes. There we go. So, but actually, here's an interesting story. You guys want to hear it?
Yes.
All right. All right, we're gonna go. We're gonna shoot. So once again, another road story. I was doing a show in South Carolina, somewhere South Carolina. I can't remember the name of this town, but no offense, town South Carolina. You were great show. Love you people, but I cannot remember the name of the town. But anyways, so I had a show in Asheville, North Carolina that next day. So I was heading from this place in South Carolina to North Carolina. And normally, any other time, I would get gas before I left. But I looked at and I was like, yeah, there's that. We'll hit a gas station on the way. No big problem. We'll find a gas station. So we're driving and we start getting in the middle of the sticks, and gas goes from, 50 miles to 20 miles to 10 miles. And there's no exits, no gas station, nothing, and nothing but sticks in the woods. And I'm looking at Antoinette, my wife, and I'm like, "Hey, babe, what are we gonna do when we're about to run?" And she's like, "It'll be okay, it'll be." And I'm like, "I don't know." And then we get down to, all the way down to like 4 miles. Okay, so we're out in the middle of nowhere, and we happen to, I've got 4 miles left before this bad boy is dry. And I look and I see the highway department just happened to be doing construction out here. So I'm like, cool. So we drive a little ways up and we pull the car over. And, I get out and I walk up to one of the workers. And this is like 2 a.m. in the morning. This is like 2 a.m. in the morning, middle of nowhere, pitch black. And I said, "Hey, guys, is there a gas station anywhere close by? I'm about to run out of gas, And he's like, "No, there ain't no gas station for the next 15, 20 miles. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So I'm like, gosh. So I start to walk back to the car, and this is pitch black. It's pitch black out here. There had the light from the highway department working, but that was it. So I'm walking back to the car, and then just out of the darkness, this guy walks up to me, and he goes, "Hey, do you need gas?" Excuse me. And I said, yeah. I'm about to run out of gas. I need gas. She goes, "I'll be right back." Disappears in the darkness. I'm standing there like, what's going on? All right, Comes back out of the darkness, and he's holding a full can of gas. He goes, "Come on." So he goes up to my car. He's just pouring it. He's filling my car up with gas. And I'm like, "Dude, thanks, man. This is a big help. Thank you so much." And I mean, he empties the can, and I'm like, "What I owe you?" He goes, "Nothing." I said, "No, seriously, man, what do I owe you?" And he's like, "Nothing." And then he walks away into the darkness, and he's gone. So, and I was just like, wow, that's kind of weird, and I'm looking around, and I'll look kind of down the road a little bit, and the highway guys, it's like they didn't even acknowledge anything, and I'm just like, that's just kind of odd. And I get back in my car, and I start the car, basically a full tank of gas, and we ride off, and make it to our hotel. But the guy just showed up and then kind of just disappeared. And this is down in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere. And I don't know if it's supernatural. I don't know if it was just some dude hanging out in the woods who knew where a bunch of gas was. I have no clue. But a very interesting story, that one of those weird road stories that you just, I guess.
That one is weird. Like,
very weird.
Like, just out of the darkness, the guy shows up.
Yeah. He just walked up like out of the.
You don't see any lights, nothing, like no houses.
No. Yeah, no houses. Just imagine like a highway in the middle of the woods out of nowhere, and it was pitch black, and he just popped up, asked me if I needed gas. Yep. Disappeared, came back. Here's the gas. Super nice guy. I just know his first name was Thomas. That's all I know.
That's creepy.
And so, Thomas, if you are listening or stumble across Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, I just want to say thank you for that. You were a lifesaver, and I will always get gas now. I never trust the, never trust the road, folks.
Yeah, I should be the same way.
But yeah, I don't know, man.
I,
And maybe he was. If you believe in guardian angels, you believe in that.
yes, I do.
All right.
Yes, I do.
So I mean, I don't know if I believe in like, oh man, we're on the clock again, and Danny's over here, he's a walking the wire, or he's doing cartwheels on the roof again, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was odd. I don't know if it was any. Who knows? But let's hear. Do you have a guardian angel story?
No. Well, I do. Um, so I think I've told this one before, but I used to have a best friend. Um,
Oh yeah. Well, I've heard about the best friend that's passed away.
yes.
Okay.
So the best friend that's passed away. He we I was at school when he passed away, and I just had a feeling, hey, I got to go in because I was in a portable. I got to go in, use the washroom, and my mother's going to show up. I just had that feeling. Just I didn't know why. I just had the feeling. So I walk in and I try to go use the washroom and I start walking back, gonna go outside to the portable, and mom walks in. And I am like, oh, okay. I'm like, and she's upset. I'm like, Chris just died, didn't he? And she goes, yeah. She goes, I'm gonna go sign you out. I'm like, I'm gonna go get my stuff. I'll meet you at the car because I knew where she parked. So I walk to the portable, grab my stuff, and then I said, see you later to my teacher, Mr. McAdam. I didn't tell him why. I'm like, I'm out of here. My mom's here. I gotta go. And he's like, well, you're not going. I'm like, yes, I am. My mother's here. He goes, you're lying. And I'm like, okay, call the office right now because they're going to be calling you in about 3, 2, 1. They called and said, Chris got to go. Someone just died. See you later. So
What a jerk teacher.
he apologized. He's like, I'm sorry. Like, because he just thought that I was trying to skip class. And the next day after everything, I go back to the class. He goes, how did you count that down? I'm like, to be honest, I don't know.
Oh, so you really did count it down to him?
I counted it down. I said 3, 2, 1, and it rang. He goes, you had to go to the washroom. And I'm like, I did, but didn't. And he was like, what do you mean? I'm like, I saw Chris wave goodbye to me. I had to go to the washroom because I knew my mother was coming. He goes, okay. And he's like, are you joking with me? I'm like, no, I wish I was. And I told him the story. I told him, like, look, I went to the washroom, came out, talked to my mother, and said, Chris died, didn't he? I said, go sign me out. I'm coming to get my stuff. And like my mother wrote a letter saying that's what happened. So I could give it to the teacher. So he knew that I wasn't lying. And he read that and went, you have the gift.
You're sensitive.
You have the gift. That's all he said. He dropped it after that. And he got more talkative to me after that. Like he would just talk to me. So
So did
I don't know if he had the gift too, and now he knows that I have the gift, but we were like best friends after that.
you and the teacher, or
Yeah,
you?
me and the
So
teacher.
you okay. So you and the teacher are friends to this day?
Not anymore. We did lose contact because after school, I don't want to talk to my teacher. But like all through school, because I was grade 9. So
Well, were you like a scaredy cat when you were a kid?
like, what do you mean?
Just was you scared of the dark? Were you extra scared of things?
Yes.
Because I was too, and
Yes.
I think that's part of being sensitive to these things when you're a
Yeah,
child.
I was scared of the dark. One Christmas, I did hear Santa. I heard sleigh bells. Oh yeah, it was that one was weird, and I started crying. Um,
I got a crazy one.
okay, go
Scared of the
ahead.
dark. I'll never forget this. I think this was my first, guys. I think this was my first paranormal experience, and it's just so weird. But I remember this. It's so weird. But I remember being a little kid. I don't even know how old I was, but I remember being a little child, and I was in my room, and I heard a noise, and I immediately covered my head with the blankets. Because that's kind of what you did. That was your go-to. And when I opened my eyes under the blankets, literally saw two solid white eyes blinking at me under the blanket. So I remember jumping out of bed and just taking off into my parents' room and diving into the bed with them, and I'll never forget that. I don't know what that was. What it was just. Oh man, I mean, it just scared the bedeebies out of me. So whatever bedeebies are, but I'm it scared them out of me. So and so I think I've always been sensitive my whole life. I really do, and I think people are. I think if you were a kid and things scared you a little easier, if you were scared more, it's because you could pick up on these things a little more. And like with your case, I mean, I tell people all the time, like when loved ones passed, they're still with us, and they still communicate with us, but you just have to open your windows and pay attention. Oh yeah, it got me. It was a like I said, I'll never forget that. I will never ever forget that. I don't know what it was, but once again,
that
I've
was
got a lot of stories. I really do. I've got more than what sometimes that's so many that I forget.
yeah. Well, we all forget. That would scare me. I wouldn't have been able to. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I just remember like even as a little kid, like I can't believe this is happening. What is happening right now?
yeah,
Maybe I had to. I don't know. I could have been hallucinating. Maybe I had too much Kool-Aid. Who
maybe.
knows? Maybe, but I sure felt like it was real. You know. Um, but yeah. Other than that, but I want to dig into some other topics. If you guys do have any questions or anything, any stories or anything you want to pop in here, let us know. Me and Chris are just going to be shooting the stew tonight and just sharing stories, talking about some things. I've been really big into the consciousness stuff. Like, there's this. I just started this book. It's an ebook, and it's called "Becoming Supernatural."
Oh yeah.
And who whose book is this? Let me pull this up. I'm so horrible at this. Let me see. It's called Becoming Supernatural. And hold on. Please don't have a hard name to say. Please don't have a hard name to say.
You'll
By
probably
Dr. Joe Dispenza. You ever heard of it?
no, I haven't heard of them.
Pretty cool book, dude. It really is. It's it just kind of talks about how to tap into your consciousness a little more, be a little aware that way. It does talk about them, meditating and stuff, which I think is healthy at balance, by the way. One thing you don't hear about, I will say this, not, meditation is great, but you can do too much of it.
Yes.
Turns out that's a thing. So who would have thought that balance with everything in life is what you should be doing, folks, even your spirituality and consciousness too, it's a pretty good book called Becoming Supernatural. Interesting. The guy kind of really breaks stuff down. So, and he's not a dum-dum. He's a smart. So I would definitely recommend checking it out.
I'm going to have to read that one.
It will, and technically I'm not reading. I'm just listening.
Well, that is a form
someone's reading to me.
That is a form of reading.
I'm sitting on the rug, crisscross applesauce, drooling a little bit out of my mouth while I listen. Here's something cool, something new. We talked about a few episodes back is the Chat GPT.
Yes.
I found this out, and this is interesting. Okay. Actually, I found this out last night. I was listening to I think it was like 60 Minutes on YouTube. They had interviewed, one of the experts on the AI, and come to find out that ChatGPT can lie.
Really?
And this is how it lies. And this is what was kind of scary. This is kind of scary. It's like a person. So it will try to answer your question to the best of its ability, but what it doesn't know, it'll BS through. So it'll kind of mix BS with the truth sometimes. Just like one of the news anchor that was doing the interview, she had asked it to, give like a bio about her. And it actually said that she worked for CBS, which was wrong. It was NBC. But the ChatGPT kind of blended. It's because it was making it up because it wanted to answer. So it was even putting some false information with true information, basically like what a human being will do if they're trying to wing something.
Huh.
So kind of terrifying too. I don't know if it's just interesting. I just hope that they stay on top of that, and it doesn't get into like, Skeletor's hands or, somebody evil.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting. All right, guys, where you at in the chatty? You guys still in our chat room with us? Lisa's on time. She's always here.
There's 2 people watching, so.
All right, only 2. Okay, well, let's hope you're both in the same room holding hands. But other than that, I think, we're getting ready to run up here on a commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about some of our interdimension stuff. We'll talk about some more consciousness, which I love talking about, because I think there's another reality that exists out there, folks, that we're all a part of and we're all connected to. You just got to pay attention. And, we'll talk about haunted donuts.
Haunted donuts, yeah.
Yeah, haunted donuts. Have you guys ever heard about the haunted donut story?
No, I haven't heard about haunted donuts.
Okay, well, when we come back after these messages, and we just had a Michelle pop into. I'm looking at the chat. Hello, Michelle. Welcome to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. You popped in. We're getting ready to cut to a commercial break, but as soon as we're done with this break, we're going to talk about some cool stuff. And if you got any questions, send them our way. Guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back with the Too Nice to Be Mean Chris Green.
Are you an experiencer of unknown phenomena? Do you consider yourself a paranormal journalist? Do you investigate strange sightings in the sky? Or do you study the expansion of the human mind? You are not alone. Welcome to TESA, a one-stop shop that offers multiple services to experiencers. Place where we can work together. place for us to learn, place for us to grow, a place for us to change the world. Join us today.
Have you ever wondered, or maybe just thought to yourself, if there were others just like you? You know, people with extraordinary abilities, psychogenic advancement, and perhaps unique intuitions. Maybe you just wondered if there were other people who experienced unimaginable, unexplained, or even unusual and paranormal events. Are there people who have more questions, more fears than answers? Well, you're not alone. You've never been alone. We believe you. Sign up for EA today.
It's not the strongest species, nor the most intelligent that survive, but the ones that are most adaptive to change. Join us for Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, live on YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't miss live interviews on Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, the latest declassified Canadian UFO documents, or an inside look at groundbreaking investigations. Subscribe on YouTube today for free.
If you want to really find out about Ryan, ask him about all his work and UFOs in Ontario.
Ryan is one of Canada's leading new UFO investigators. He conducts and oversees UFO investigations on a constant basis. He's compiled a tremendous amount of data regarding UFOs in Canada.
I have used his research extensively. He's much more than a one-dimensional character. He's an authority on UFOs and investigating them, Meg.
Wow!
Really goes over how UFO investigations are done and what are some of the mistakes that people make when they submit evidence. For starters, don't edit your videos or photos before you send them.
He would come out with an annual report on not only the number of sightings, but how many were unexplained, unknown, or just, nothing could be said. What caused it?
If you want to hear more follow-up conversation between Ryan and myself, you can go to richardolanmembers.com, where we have a candid conversation on ufology, the paranormal, and more. And remember, while we learn and grow and search for the truth, let's be good to each other.
All right, guys, welcome back. If you're just not tuning in, it's been me, Danny Whitson, your host, and my sidekick, the man behind the scenes. Too nice to be mean, Mr. Chris Green. All right off the bat, I love this. We've got a question. Here we go. Michelle. Let's see. Earliest memory I have of an off-worlder was when I was 3. I believe it was a gray. It was wearing a suit, so I wouldn't be scared of it. That is freaking interesting. Wow. I think one thing that I have always heard by most people, it's like their first interaction with grays or normally when they're children. So that's very common. It's a very common, interaction. And it's very, usually very, very young. Now that though was in a suit. Wow. So So I guess Michelle, you weren't afraid. I guess because of it showed up maybe trying to look more more relatable in some ways. I guess that's interesting though. In a suit, I haven't heard that, but I have heard plenty times. You have too, Chris. A lot of plenty. Most people's first interactions are when they're children. I wonder why that is. I mean, a lot of times, here's the other thing. A lot of things are always dismissed with children have these big, broad, wide imaginations. And I don't think that's so much, I think children are able to accept things a lot more easier than whenever you become older as an adult. Your mind is, oh, it was an astronaut suit. Oh, is what she says. Oh, okay, cool. Heck, that's even cooler.
Yeah, that is cooler. Maybe it was a dead astronaut.
Yeah, I mean, well, you don't know. It could have. I mean, there could be plenty of reasons for that.
But yeah, children are more sensitive, I guess.
Well, I think, yeah. Oh, okay. So she's saying the visor was gold colored.
Yeah.
So did it? I mean, Michelle, did it reveal its face at any time? Do you remember that? Speaking of astronauts, real quick, the 2 American astronauts have landed safely here on planet Earth after being stuck in space for almost a year.
Really?
Yep. They have. It was a little mission that they were going on that was supposed to be like 10 days, and it turned into like 9 months. So, but they made it home safely today. So glad to hear that. Welcome back, Earth. Even though I probably would have hung out up there, but okay. But yeah, I don't know. A space, spacesuit. That's definitely interesting. Something you're definitely not going to forget that either. But yeah, I think kids are more. They're more sensitive, but it's because they haven't became so numb to society, to their own selfish ways and society's needs. Michelle says, she has seen them all my life on and off, and I left them a few times. So, I think most people, there's certain people that are more sensitive to other things. Like I think there's people who are more sensitive to paranormal, ghost type activity, if you want to call it ghosts. And then I think there's people who are more sensitive to, the UFO alien, phenomenon too. And a lot of times it starts out for people at a very young age as children, and then it continues throughout their entire life. Usually from what I've always heard, talking to people on this show, that there's a little time span to where I guess they don't see them or interact with them, and then later on it comes back. Even had a U.S. flag on its chest. That's awesome. Well, I mean, I guess it's pretty cool, That's weird. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe it was an astronaut, and it was, revealing its true identity to itself. But then again, though, I mean, especially when you're a kid, astronauts aren't scary. Astronauts are heroic.
Maybe that's why.
Exactly. So, maybe that could be the case of it. It didn't want you to be scared, because like I said, especially as children, me and Chris were scaredy cats, and every little thing scared us. But this was a way for you not to be scared. So I think that's a cool story. Michelle, if you any other stories you'd love to share, we would share with us here on Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. We would love to hear them. We love to talk about the weird, strange, mysterious, whatever you want to call it. This is a safe place for crazy. And it's, crazy, the word crazy being, used very loosely here. So
I just remembering when I was on the break there, remembering a dream that I had back in 2000. It was
back in 2000.
Back in 2000. It was a dream. We were having that Y2K scare and all that stuff, right?
Yes.
I walked outside. I was living at my dad's place at that point, and I walked outside, walked on the front deck, and I looked up. It looked like I was looking into an arcade game. Like everything was really close to me. I could see the moon. The moon was red. I could see, how the asteroids hit it and stuff like that. I could see all the indents. I could see Saturn. I could see the planets. I could see the stars, but it was all like close. Like you could reach out and touch it.
Now, hold on, Chris. This was 2000. So, I mean, you weren't doing any like crazy drugs or anything?
No. No, I wasn't medicated. No, this was just
always have to check.
But it felt real. Like I woke up the next day, it was still dark out, and I went outside to look. Like it felt that real.
So did you tell anybody? Did you go back and say,
yeah,
hey, look?
I told Dad, I told my dad and everything else. And I'm like, did I sleepwalk, go outside or something? He goes, no, you were sleeping all night. Why? And so I told him about my dream, and he's like, weird.
Oh, so it was just a strange dream.
It was just a strange dream. I thought it was, yeah.
Well, that is interesting. I don't have a lot of vivid dreams. Luckily, I don't. All right. By the way, let's give a big shout out to Christy. Christy is handling the questions tonight, folks, and she is our tech person, and she is doing a fantastic job. So big shout out to you, Christy. Thank you so much. And Chris is literally not doing anything. So here we go. All right. Just kidding, man. Here we go. All right. We've got a question from Michelle. Michelle, we love this. Here we go. I remember being taken in the ship with the small grays when I was in college. Took me there. The wall, 2 tall grays above me. I was lying on the table, and a light came down from above with a long needle. Now, this isn't sounding fun at all. The needle went into my forehead, woke up in my bed the next morning. Oh, man. Now, that sounds horrible. It sounds awful. I had a dentist appointment like that one time. No, that sounds awful. It really does. So now this just leads to more questions, Michelle. I've got to ask. Hopefully, it was what started out to be, you didn't have fear. This would kind of reverse all that for me. I don't think it was something I would be, too lighthearted or trusting about. And, I've never heard anything good about the reptilians. So, anytime I've ever heard any story that involved, a reptilian experience, it's always been bad. So in this, she says there was 2 reptilians behind the grays, which is, once again, here's the other thing about this. Whenever people hear these stories, okay, and I'm just being completely honest, is I hear the same details from different people. So if this is something you're totally new to, something that you're just kind of picking up on, I've never had this experience, me personally, but I have heard several stories that sound so similar with the similar things: reptilians, grays, the Palladians. I've heard all these. Yeah, and it's just too coincidental for people who have never met, don't know each other, anything, that tell similar experiences with very similar type beings. It's just there. So there has to be something going on. And I know you may walk around and be like, it's hard for me to believe that there's a race of lizard people. Really? Well, I mean, who knows? You believe in other crazier stuff. I'm not gonna torch religion, but let's be honest. Religion's got some pretty crazy stories. So, and some people tend to have no problem at all believing it. And even if you don't, if you are one of these skeptical atheist type people that think when you die you just go to the dirt, well, that's boring and that's depressing and that's sad. And I'm sorry, but it's very interesting. Did I ever tell you that my dinosaur theory?
No.
So what if dinosaurs are actually like ancient reptilian race? What if actually dinosaurs, I mean, were like the ancestors to this reptilian race that has been here way before we were ever here? Something, to kind of, I don't know. You know what I mean? And people, maybe that's kind of the link of their existence or their evolution.
Well, they say the crocodiles are ancestors to dinosaurs. Anyway.
They absolutely. A crocodile is basically just a dinosaur. Yeah. There was giant crocodiles, back in the day, and somehow they've made it through all the chaos. But it's I don't know. I've always kind of that's something to think about, because as weird as it is, dinosaurs did exist, and as weird as it is that giant lizards roam the earth, it's pretty wild. Michelle says, I've seen ships in the sky far up above, but seen 5. What was it? Both of them. I've seen one before. I haven't seen a whole lot, but it sounds like, Michelle, you are very sensitive to the UFO phenomenon, and I hope you are dealing with it, and I hope it's you're making peace with it. A few years ago, I had a black seamless ship shaped like an almond follow me to work one morning, and I've heard of that. I have totally heard of that. And don't worry about the typos. Don't worry, I do them all the time too. So I'm a typo king. Michelle, this is great. You're going to have to pop back and see us come here more often. Michelle's killing it with the questions. We did have a few others in the chat group tonight, but they're being a little quiet, but that's okay. But hey, Michelle, we love to hear this story. So any more you want to share with us, keep it going. We definitely love to hear it.
Also, Komodo dragons would be part of the reptilians.
Yeah, those things are terrifying. They're nasty, filthy. I think they when they bite you, what kills you when they bite you? It's not that they have venom. I mean, I think they do have venom, but I don't think it's the venom that kills you. It's the nasty bacteria in their mouth is what winds up killing you, or it kills their prey. How disgusting is that? Talk about bad breath,
Yeah. Septic infections.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Absolutely. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hear a lot of the same stuff from, so many different people. There has to be something. There has to be something going there.
Yeah, we hear a lot about the Greys,
reptilians, and we hear, there's nice ones, there's bad ones, but I'm sorry.
It's always about the ships too.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's I've heard theories to what the Greys are out for, and like I said, I've never heard a pleasant story that involved any of the reptilians. It's always been something horrible. Let's see. Here we got a question. Well, Lisa, Michelle, you should have a journal to write your experiences in. I do. Yeah, Lisa keeps up with her stuff. Michelle, do you use a journal? Do you write these things down? It would definitely, I think it would be beneficial. Definitely beneficial to do so.
So you got any more experiences there, sir?
Me, as anything weird? Not as like stuff always, like, my mom and dad always pop up and say hello. They constantly interact with me. Like I said, I had another loved one pass not that long ago, and she made her presence known, which I thought was really cool. But to me, that's not really paranormal to me. I mean, I guess it's considered is, but it's just like that's became a norm for me. Yes. That's a norm for me. And like I can't really stress to people, your loved ones are still around you, still with you. I know it's a good feel good, emotion, but it's true. It really is true. So, but I mean, other than that, nothing at the moment. But the working on some cool projects, working on some things that involve some ghosts and stuff like that. So I can't share that yet, but when I do, it's going to be really interesting. Do we have have any of you had any other paranormal? Michelle just tinged in the same question. Michelle, are you a mind reader too, or what? Yeah, Chris just asked that question. Not here lately. I did see a UFO one time. This was probably about a year ago. It was a Tic Tac type shaped UFO, the kind that you hear a lot in the media and the news. And it was really strange because I was just driving down a busy road, and I looked up, and there flying in the sky was this TikTok type shape craft, and I tried to get a picture, but I totally went into a Bigfoot moment, and it got blurry for some reason. And then when I looked away, bam, it was gone. And I was just like, I can't believe that no one else saw this. Where did this thing go? This is nutso. And that was my experience. And I remember even messaging Ryan after that. I was like, dude, you won't believe what I saw,
Yeah, I think I remember that. I think I was with him when you actually messaged that.
That was crazy. That was a crazy day. It was. But as far as UFOs go, that's as far as my experience goes. But also, I don't know. Some people say there's some people say they can walk outside and consciously summon UFOs.
Yeah.
What do you think?
We do have another question. I see it on the screen.
Oh, well, this is not for us. This is for Lisa.
Yeah, I know, but
there we go. It's for Lisa. What is the title of your book? I think I don't know. Does Lisa have a book, or does she just wrote a book?
No, she does have a book. She says she has a book out about
nice.
her experiences. So
she's got a book out. I'm not dismal enough to write a book, If I ever wrote a book, I'm not sure what it'd be about. Actually, I am, but
you just make movies. That's all you do.
We got a movie in the process. Yes, we are making a movie. We are making a funny movie. Actually, I'm in a movie. I get abducted by aliens in one movie.
Yeah, you did tell me.
No. I don't. I'm sorry, I jacked it. I don't get abducted by aliens, but I play the part of an alien abducting somebody. It was me and my wife got to play the part of two aliens, so that was interesting. But in this other movie I'm in, this is totally. There's no abductions, no aliens, but there are a lot of crazy characters. And when that gets closer, we will definitely talk about it on the show. We'll definitely talk more about it. And guys, Chris Green could have been in the movie, but he wouldn't fly to the States.
I'm scared of heights.
Stay there in Canada.
Scared of heights. Don't have long enough arms. Can't fly.
Let's get this last one up here from Michelle, because we are getting close on time. But Michelle, you have been amazing with questions, so we're gonna get this last one out here. The beings in the black ship told me in my head, you don't see us. I answered back to them, are you kidding me? I'm looking right at you. I dropped my phone in the floorboard, and they kept following me. That is, they keep pacing. They keep pacing me and follow me all the way to work, then flew off. So you were kind of talking to them consciously, telepathically, which a lot of people do. So that's something. There you go. You are definitely one of the sensitive type of people that can do this. And you're like, hey, really, I got to go to work. Get out of here. Go kick rocks. Why do they always abduct the nice people? Because I can think of some people that I would like them to abduct. You know what I mean? We all know a few people that could use a good old freaking jelly finger from one of the graves. You know what I'm saying?
We do.
But I tell you what, hey man, this hasn't been a bad show.
No, this hasn't been. This is pretty good.
It's been a good show. We've had some great questions from Michelle L. I like that too. It's Michelle L. Rhymes. And Lisa popped in like always. Love to see you, Lisa. We had some other dudes pop in, but they were quiet. Maybe you guys were if you just want to watch, that's cool. Guys, we are streaming everywhere. So, you can check this show out later on Spotify, Apple, wherever in the world it is you listen to podcasts, we will be there. And, we stream live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. We have some pretty cool guests a lot of times, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's just me and Chris here, jabbing about some cool stuff. But I tell you what, Chris, I believe this has been a success, and I will see you next week, my friend.
Yeah, no, you won't.
Oh, I won't see you next week. That's right.
You're not going to see me.
Not going to see you, but I think Christy will be here.
Yes, she will be.
We will have, me and Christy will just do some jabbing then. But all right, guys, I tell you what, thank you so much for all your questions. Tune in next week. We will be back, and I will have Miss Christy behind the scenes. I'm going to have to come up with something that rhymes with that. Now, thanks a lot, Christy. Guys, but yeah, definitely, if you have not done so, be sure to share the podcast, tell your friends about us. Be sure to smash the like button. That always helps for some reason. I don't know why. You can learn more about the founder of the podcast, the Skeptical Sleuth, Ryan Stacy, at theexperiencersupport.org. He's got some pretty cool articles about some investigations that he has went on. He is a professional private investigator, and he really gets to the nitty-gritty to these things. If you want to show the podcast some love, you can head over to Patreon at Heed the World and make a little donation, and that goes a long ways too. So all the love in the world would be nice. Also, speaking of some love, head over to your boy's page, my page on Instagram at Super Magic Boy. Give me a follow, or Danny Whitson on Facebook, Danny Whitson Magic and Comedy. You can check out a show, post where I'm going to be, and I would love to see some familiar Beyond the Tinfoil Hatters. It's always fun. So, and I love to talk to paranormal. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. And like always, folks, we are broadcasting live from the E-United Public Radio Network and the Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Guys, I'm your host, Danny Whitson. This has been fun, Paranormal Junkies. I will see you next week. All right, that does it for this episode of Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. A big shout out for tonight's awesome guest, and a bigger shout out for everyone who tuned in. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever it is you listen to your podcasts. And like always, be sure to stay curious, heed the world, and keep the paranormal normal. I'm your host, Danny Whitson, and this has been Beyond the Tinfoil Hat.